Good evening from race headquarters, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, and welcome to this live commentary stream of the start of the Cabbage Tree Island Yacht Race. And I'm going to be joined in commentary by two sailing celebrities. Firstly, Olivia Price, dual Olympic skipper and silver medalist. What can we look forward to in this action-packed 5 days coming up?
It is the penultimate race of the Audi Centre Sydney Blue Water Pointscore in the lead up to the final, the Rolex Sydney Harbour. It's also kicking off the Australian Maxi Championship and the Southern Cross Series, so there's plenty to play for. And we'll also have the voice of the Rolex Sydney Hobart, Peter Shipway, significance for boats and crews.
Well, it's the last tester really for the Rolex Sydney Hobart race. It is a qualifier for that race. A lot of boats are using it as the qualifier. Today's conditions look a nice northeasterly breeze that'll take them most of the way to the island, Cabbage Tree, and then a nice run home tomorrow.
Yes, and that northerly sea breeze is certainly piping in down the harbour at the moment. Lots of white caps. The fleet of 72 is milling around the start. We're still just under 20 minutes away from the start of the 2025 Cabbage Tree Island Race. But I can see the adrenaline starting to pump on these boats, Olivia. It's going to be a very spectacular scene now in these conditions.
It is, Gordon. The breeze is built up to, 23 knots, which is a great action-packed start for us this evening. It's fantastic to see so many boats out on the harbour in the lead up to what is going to be an epic weekend of racing.
And Chippo, last year we had a very chaotic scene at the start. I think we had a false start, a general recall. But this year we have two start lines.
Yes, a couple of changes, Gordon. The start time has been brought forward to 5 o'clock Sydney time, as it was for 7 o'clock last time. And the fleet has been split into two, so there'll be two separate starts, 5 minutes apart. A big fleet of 71 boats. There'll be 26 on the first line and 45 on the second line to start 5 minutes apart. One late withdrawal, which has been very disappointing. Wild Thing 100 is out. She will not be racing. She's got some mainsail issues, so it only leaves the three 100-foot Super Maxis along with Maritime 100.
Well, let's just have a look at the details of this race, the Cabbage Tree race, and it's over a distance of 172 miles, and the record holder is Andu Comanche, and that was a very smart time of 15 hours and 20 minutes. And the sponsor, of course, is Audi Centre Sydney, which also sponsors the Blue Water Pointscore. And talking of the Pointscore, let's have a look at the races that are involved. This is race 5 of the Audi Centre Sydney Blue Water Pointscore. So we had the Noakes Sydney Gold Coast race in July. We've had the Flinders Islands race. We've had the Tollgate Islands race, the Bird Island race, and now the Cabbage Tree. And with Boxing Day, we have the Rolex Sydney Hobart counting for double points. And so let's have a look at the point score after those first 4 races. And it doesn't surprise to see URM Group is leading the way narrowly from Smuggler, who was the victor in the Blue Water Pointscore last year. Moneypenny now sailing from WA in 3rd place. Highly Sprung in 4th. Bacchanal from the United States and Sticky in 6th position. But with points counting double in the Rolex Sydney Hobart, it's still very wide open for the ultimate winner. As we look down now on Scallywag, SHK Scallywag, one of 3 100-footers racing here today.
Yeah, it's really exciting to have them back in Sydney Harbour in the lead up to the Rolex Sydney Hobart. They went and won the Rolex Middle Sea race last year and have been on an international tour visiting all the major offshore races. So it's great to have them back and join the 100-footer fleet.
The race record is actually 12 hours and 19 minutes. Held by Andu Comanche. That was set in 2022. So a little bit better than we indicated there on the graphic. 3 hours better, in fact.
Well, the weather models, Gordon, have this race in these conditions. The Maxi's finishing in about 15 hours, so about 3 hours outside the record. It's a good breeze, as Olivia said, on the harbour at the moment. North-northeast, probably 14, 15, perhaps a little bit more. Up at the Western Channel Pilot, I think it's all over 20 knots. So the forecast is for the breeze to stay in most of the night, a bit light in the morning as they approach the island and up across Stockton Bight, but then filling in tomorrow afternoon. So it'll give them a good skid home, that's for sure.
You can see, obviously, everyone's getting ready to pull all their sails up and in preparation for the first warning signal in about 10 minutes for that first line to go off. As Peter mentioned, we do have 2 start lines with Division 1 entrance on the first start and the Division 2 entrance in the second 5 minutes later.
And it's also the opening challenge, Olivia, for the Australian Maxi Championship, which sees Australia's top racing mini maxi, that's 60 to 80 feet, and the maxi yachts up to 100 feet go head-to-head. And this Maxi Championship will be conducted over the next 5 days and wraps up with the Solus Big Boat Challenge on Tuesday the 9th.
Well, Gordon, the big question to be asked early on is the battle between the 3 maxis, SHK Scallywag, Law Connect and Master Lock Comanche. We've been waiting a long while for this, and it's with us in a few minutes' time. We'll see a very exciting race. Dave Witt and the Scallywag team have worked hard with the boat overseas. They've improved their upwind speed, so they're going to be upwind for the next 8 to 10 hours, that's for sure. So I think Master Lock Comanche's probably the favourite at this stage, but who knows? Whitty's pretty confident of his upwind speed, and then Law Connect, well, hasn't she been a revelation over the last couple of years, winning the last 2 Rolex Sydney Hobart races in line honours? And she's performed very well in the past in the Cabbage Tree race. So a race in 3, I think, for the line honours, but a real battle royal for the handicap between, you know, the 60-footers down to the TP52s and some of the smaller boats that could figure in these handicap results as they come home on a freshening nor'easter tomorrow. So it's a lot to play for here, and there's Law Connect, as we're talking, coming across. No Hetzel up at this stage. They've been going upwind to test their sails, but Hetzel down at the moment. So we're still about 13 minutes away from a start here on a glistening Sydney Harbour.
And guess who's on board Law Connect? Torpedo, the great Ian Thorpe, who was the most successful athlete at Sydney 2000 Olympic Games, winning 3 gold medals and 2 silver medals, and of course a 4-time winner of World Swimmer of the Year. I think from 1998 through to 2004 he was unbeaten in all major swim meets over the 400-metre freestyle distance. So Ian Thorpe, Torpedo, is on board today, Law Connect, and also heading south to Hobart on Boxing Day.
Well, it's an exciting addition to the Law Connect team. You know, traditionally there's been some celebrities involved in the Rolex Sydney Hobart, but it's also great to have that tradition come back in Torpedo. You know, he's going to be very handy in and around lifting sails and being part of the team, obviously driving teamwork and dedication to detail. So really great addition to the team there.
And Peter, with your 31 Sydney Hobarts, the fact that he's very good in still water doesn't necessarily mean that will equate to the rigours of the Sydney Hobart.
No, it'll be a culture shock, that's for sure. It'll be a bit rougher than the Olympic pool, but it's terrific, as Olivia said, to see those sporting stars out in another sport. And over the years, Law Connect or InfoTrack or Perpetual Loyal have really taken a lot of different sporting people out. And it's wonderful for the sport, gives it great publicity. And it's a great thrill, I'm sure, for Ian Thorpe to be doing this race tonight, and then, of course, rolling into the Rolex Sydney Hobart race on Boxing Day.
Yeah, you know, fantastic. Obviously, we have the 100-foot Super Maxis as the biggest boats, and Maritimo Catwincher being one of the smallest boats in our fleet this year, owned by Bill Barry Cotton from the Southport Yacht Club. They'll have a crew of 6 on board. They're just preparing everything, getting all their line transits. But, you know, a great story in the design from 1904 in Watney in the UK, and just at 10 metres length overall. It's going to be an exciting time again for Hobart. You know, it's a fantastic crew in Michael Spies as the skipper, done 46 Hobarts himself, so very experienced crew on a smaller boat in the fleet.
A bit of trivia, Gordon. I know you like trivia. Michael Spies, the captain and skipper of Catwincher, he was aboard Love and War in 1976 when they won this Cabbage Tree Island yacht race. So there's some good trivia, Gordon. Do you like that?
Yes, he was also involved in the closest finish on record on the losing boat by 7 seconds. Was that back in 1982, Peter?
You're talking about the Rolex, or the Hobart race?
In the Hobart race,
I'm talking about the Cabbage Tree race.
Right,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Just testing you.
Yeah.
fantastic to see the Celestial Volvo 70 out again, defending Rolex Sydney Hobart champion and CYCA Commodore. Sam Haynes is the skipper and charterer. They've had a bit of modifications done over the last couple of weeks and were done in time. A whole new set of North Sails kit on board for this race, and for, they're prepping it all and getting it ready for the Rolex Sydney Hobart. Really stacked crew as well, some internationals brought on board, but also some traditional teams from the Celestial programs in the past.
Oroton Drumfire now. Will Vickers, who's not on board today, but wife Jane is. And this beautiful boat, Oroton Drumfire, is actually racing an IRC in the Rolex Sydney Hobart.
Yeah, the new racer cruiser division that is really exciting to be part of, was very instrumental in that.
She'll enjoy these conditions, fresh upwind tonight. We'll get a bit bouncy off through the heads once they get up north a little, but big, powerful boat and a beautiful looking boat, hook design, and she's raced many Hobart races, and she's going again this year.
Pink boat, Olivia here, one you know well, Vixen Lady, a famous skipper on board.
Yes, Sharon Ferris-Choate has brought, a fantastic team, mixed team of sailors together to race in these Blue Water Pointscore races. Sharon Ferris-Choate, pardon my words, being a dual Olympian, round the world, 3-time ocean racer, super experienced in both team leadership and offshore sailing. So it's great to see the pink stripes out here on Sydney Harbour.
See the nor'easter pumping through the harbour now. Plenty of white caps. Probably down a little from when we first came out. Probably about 18 knots or so. But probably there'll be a north breeze through the heads. It gets a bit spiky up there over North Head. So they'll have plenty on. I think most boats would be on J3s, third size jibs. I've seen some of the boats going up. They look as though on J3s. Some of the big masthead boats are on short blade jibs. So I think that will be the sail of choice, certainly for the first few hours.
Well, the Maxi Championship, this is the first race of the Australian Maxi Championship for 2025. We might just have a look at the details of the Australian Maxi Championship calendar, which is going to be conducted over the next 5 days. It starts with this race. It's the Australian Maxi Championship calendar. And take us through it, Olivia.
So today kicks off the championship with the Cabbage Tree Island Race. They'll have a day off tomorrow before there's 2 passage racing days on Sunday and Monday, and then all culminating in the Solus Big Boat Challenge, where there'll be up to 10 incredible super yachts racing around the harbour. We just saw the URM before. I was lucky enough to be able to sail 2 of the Audi Centre Sydney Blue Water Pointscore races with the team. They've had a tough year after a breakage in their mast last year in the Rolex Sydney Hobart in the first night, but the team have done an amazing job to put a whole new rig together brought it over from Europe and was able to match the sails and get it all done. They've really been dedicated to the team and to that boat, so it's exciting to see them again.
And they're having their Christmas party today.
Yes, the URM Christmas party. DJ and AJ, 2 of the owners, are not on the boat today, but they will be out there on Sunday and Monday, as well as Big Boat Day on Tuesday. They are also leading the Blue Water Pointscore Championship overall, and being part of that team, luckily enough, just for 2 races of the series was, incredible experience, my first offshore experiences, and to be able to see the teamwork and how they really pushed for every inch around the track was just incredible to see. I can't wait to do some more.
Well, very clearly you've given them that cutting edge.
Fellow Olympian Jason Waterhouse and silver medalist is out there.
Okay, signals are up. 5 minutes to go for the first fleet, starting right at 1700 hours Sydney time. Don't forget, 2 separate starts, 5 minutes apart. The big boys are off first, and then the smaller and double-handers are off on the second start line. Only one double-hander on the first line, and that's Minnie, sailed by the very well-known Sydney yachtsman, Michael Zappa Bell, along with Adrian Harmsworth. In the Jones 42, they were the only two-hander on the front line. So, Olivia, looking at this starting line, looks a pretty good line to me, I think.
Yeah, it does. I think, it's obviously quite windy out here, but the line looks long enough for both our divisions to get off in good stead. Obviously, with the nor'east, the traditional Sydney Harbour route is start, continue as far as you can go to Bradley's Head, and then I'm sure we'll see some tacking jaws over the next little while to make their way outside the heads.
Just got a wind reading from the Western Channel pile on Sydney Harbour with a 4-minute hoot had just gone. They've got nor'east at 20 knots, gusting to 23 knots. So plenty of wind up there and a little bit left in the wind.
And we should mention also this is the first race in the brand new Southern Cross Series, which creates an innovative ocean racing point score with the aim to attract international competitors to Australian waters. That's very exciting because this will be the first race of this new Southern Cross Series. Then we have the Rolex Sydney Hobart, and then in February, staggered starts over 3 days. We have the Trans-Tasman from Sydney to Auckland, and that's all starting with today and finishing in February in Auckland Harbour.
Yeah, extremely exciting. There's a number of entrants already, and we're seeing a lot of momentum build for those longer style offshore races. So I'm excited to watch all the way into February to see how this championship goes.
And if you're interested in taking part, January 9 for the Trans-Tasman race. That's the closing date of entries, January 9, 2026.
Okay, well, there's Master Lock Comanche. She won this race last year, got the double, line honours and handicap, and certainly one of the favourites for line honours this year. A few of the viewers might be wondering where the renamed Wild Oats 11 is, now Palm Beach 11, still undergoing modifications. Will not be racing today and will not be racing the Solace Big Boat, but hopefully out very, very soon to do some trialling and get ready for the starting line on Boxing Day.
Yeah, and also a great shout out to the team at McConaughey's and all the boat builders working on the Palm Beach 11. They have stopped their work for the moment just for this hour to watch the start. So good luck with getting everything done, boys, and we'll see you soon.
And Mark Richards will be skippering Wild Oats 10 in the Solace Big Boat Challenge here on Sydney Harbour on Tuesday. And yeah, that boat, Wild Oats 10, an amazing boat. A former Australian maxi champion.
Okay, they're starting to line up now with 1:45 to go. The first start of this year's Cabbage Tree Island Yacht Race for the famous Halverson Brothers Trophy.
You can see everyone's jostling for position up at this boat end of the line. And the reason for that would be strategically to be able to get the best advantage off Bradley's Head and lead into that. You do get a bit of a wind shift over there and you get that strategic advantage.
And it's a time-honoured event, Peter, as you say. A lot of people watching this telecast weren't even born when you did your first race in 1968.
Yeah, we'll move on from that, Gordon, and concentrate on the fleet with 1 minute to go, I think. But they're starting to line up. It's 1 minute to go. Master Lock Comanche in the middle of the line. URM towards the committee boat. Law Connect back a little bit. She's starting to get wound up now. Tony Mutter's trying to find a hole to get through and punch through. We've got 45 seconds to go. They're all hanging back a fair way. They don't want to stub their toe and jump the start.
We've also got SHK Scallywag a little bit further back behind in the second row, but they're going to be getting a good lineup if they can find a gap.
Well, look at Law Connect coming through at rocket pace. 25 seconds to go. He's got to find a hole to get through. He's in a hole, but he's got to slow down.
Law Connect does look early here. Yeah. URM's having to slow down as well.
It's Koa most advanced, top right. The big...
They've just put the handbrake on Law Connect.
Yeah. Okay. 10 seconds to go. Koa looks well advanced. Oh...
URM had a good start.
Look at Law Connect. They've split their jib. They've split their jib. Look at Law Connect. You can see it down from the top on the forestay. Disaster early for Law Connect. Smuggler got a great start at the committee boat end, and here comes Dave Witt and SHK Scallywag. A very good start. Masterlock Comanche's a little bit boxed in, but disaster early on for Law Connect. Rip their jib in half. But Fred, on the sail is Smuggler. Done very well in the championship. She was so far, and she was the Blue Water champion last year. To leeward of her is Highly Sprung. And then Dave Witt and the SHK Scallywag trying to find a lane to get through. That's Masterlock Comanche, top right. Starting to punch out now. There's Law Connect dropping their headsail.
URMs had to sit head to wind as well. I think when Law Connect wanted to drop their jib, they had to luff up a bit higher. So we'll see URM just sitting a little bit head to wind, having to duck SHK Scallywag here on port.
Willow's had a good start, so too Pretty Woman.
Actually, I think URM group are over the line.
URM's gone back. Okay. I think that's URM going back, isn't it, Olivia?
Yes, it is. You know, they were well advanced with Law Connect and COA as well, so they're being safe and going back early.
Okay, well, the big question now is the Masterlock Comanche's going to be first to Bradley's, but will she cross SHK Scallywag when they come back on port? Well, we'll soon see. Masterlock's tacking. Can Dave Witt have a piece of him here? On starboard tack. Masterlock Comanche has tacked. This is going to be exciting. I think Masterlock may be across.
They look like they have a really great angle out of Bradley's head. Looks like it does. It will be
Masterlock Comanche leads.
SHK Scallywag is going to have to go a little bit further into Bradley's head and try and get that further strategic advantage. Law Connect's still gone in behind and holding back. I think they were over the start line as well, Peter.
Good job on Masterlock Comanche. Down that leeward end, good speed. Got down to leeward, could put the bow down, and now they've crossed the fleet. And they're on their way.
And remember, Comanche has won line honours 3 times in a row in this race. As Masterlock Comanche last year, and Andrew Comanche in 23 and 2022.
If we're talking tactics here too, Masterlock Comanche has a great advantage being able to sail their own race and not have to worry about really anyone else. They made that strategic option to get that first tack done early, and now they can come back in a strong position and just cover the rest of the fleet. So really big advantage there for Masterlock Comanche. SHK Scallywag is continuing into Bradley's head. They don't have too much further to go, probably 2 or 3 boat lengths. You can see they're setting up to tack. And again, they're going to have a great angle coming out of there. Some fantastic shots of the tack happening there.
Navigator Chris Wilde will be undergoing his 11th Rolex Sydney Hobart this year. They broke their bowsprit last year, or in 2023.
So
lining up for the start, Peter, in the second start line.
Yep, about 2 minutes to go there, but the leaders, Scallywag has tacked, has got a problem getting their genoa in, or their jib in rather. Still haven't sheeted in. There looks to be an issue on Scallywag. But meanwhile, Masterlock Comanche has got a real jump. Yeah, Scallywag's got a problem now with their genoa. And to leeward of them, I think it is Money Penny. No, it's not. It is Celestial V70, the Commodore.
Done a fantastic job to keep up with the 100-footers. Obviously, now they're going to lose a bit of pressure as Scallywag covers them and takes their wind. The options for Celestial are to set up and go for another bite at this left-hand side of the racetrack. There will be more tacks involved as we make our way up towards Watson's Bay. So there's still plenty of options, but a great start from the Celestial V70.
Well, Scallywag's got the headsail sheeted in now, and they're full wick, but Masterlock Comanche going in towards Rose Bay with a clear lead. And there's the second fleet away. A lot more boats in that fleet, 45 yachts on the second start. You can see Law Connect still without a headsail. That's a massive job to change those headsails at the best of time. But you've got to get that old sail down that ripped in it. A real disadvantage for them now. But they're away, the second fleet, majority on starboard. So we've got a Bacchanal, got third last year in the Cabbage Tree race over the start in the second fleet, so she will have to return.
And because there is 5 minutes in between the first start and the second, we will make our way back and assess exactly what's happening in Division 2 in both IRC and PHS. But at the moment, Masterlock Comanche is tacked over on Steel Point and is very much got the race under control for this harbour.
Masterlock Comanche, SHK Scallywag, followed by Celestial V70.
And then closely followed by No Limit. No Limit has been out with some new sails, testing some brand new sails in the last week and a half. So it's great to see them out. They'll be again involved over the entire Australian Maxi Championship. So great start from them. And they look like they're a bit out of phase with the fleet too. So they can actually sail in their own clear air.
Breeze in the north-northeast now, plenty of it, 18 to 20 knots up off Nielsen Park. Boats high on the port tack, low on starboard.
URM has gone back to the start and restarted and has recovered very well over near Seal Point.
Now this boat's going very well, Celestial V70. Got some nice height. She came out from underneath SHK Scallywag. Top crew on this boat, as Olivia said earlier. Rob Greenhull, 4-time Sydney Hobart winner on board for Commodore Sam Haynes.
Yes, she's been chartered from Jim Cooney and Samantha Grant. Willow, the digital twin, renamed for this race Celestial V70 as it was last year.
You can see that the team are discussing whether to try and under-tack and lead SHK Scallywag out to the left, but there was a call made on board that they're going to continue past, so they're going to try and get a piece of the right-hand side of the racetrack. We do have a bit of a tacking duel going on here. Fantastic.
So off camera, Masterlock Comanche's high on the left and on a really good shift coming off Chowder Bay. Really streeted the fleet at the moment, you can see from that overhead. But that's Celestial V70 and SHK Scallywag. Off Nielsen Park, going back into the middle of the harbour. Tide coming in. That's the lead that Masterlock Comanche has. Little jib, probably a J3 or a J4.
So the Celestial, as Peter was saying earlier, had a great high mode to lift off SHK Scallywag. They've been able to actually lay almost the end of Nielsen Park, so they're gaining in this left-hand pressure, left-hand shift, and being able to just accelerate a little bit more bow forward now before they'll set up and probably head back up to the left to stay in more pressure.
Masterlock Comanche showing the others clean pair of heels at the moment after a brilliant start.
Beautiful afternoon on the harbour now. North-northeasterly breeze, classic breeze on the harbour of a summer day. As Celestial just getting ready to tack off camera, but we're on Masterlock Comanche. She's off the Western Channel pile. On Sydney Harbour, there's Celestial V70 just tacking.
I just saw Sam Haynes, the skipper, waving to their supporters in a Palm Beach nearby. They got a big yell, a big cheerio, and he responded.
So 10 minutes into the start of Division 1, and we're really now seeing the bigger boats stretch their legs and find some space. Scallywag will be setting up to tack just on your screen as they head into Clifton Gardens. And then we'll have a bit of a meet point again with the Celestial V70. Although there's 30-foot difference in between, they're still staying competitive. And what a sight to see. Really being able to open up their sails a little bit and head towards this eastern channel of the Sydney Harbour. Bit of fast mode happening, so they've eased their sails, cracked off a little bit. You can see they've got a lot of power, sailing the boat on quite an angle of heel.
Co-skippers, Matt Allen, a 4-time winner of the Rolex Sydney Hobart overall, and James Mayo, 3-time world Etchell champion. They're doing an amazing job here.
And James Mayo was just recently crowned Australian Sailing Male Sailor of the Year for all of his feats this year in defending that Etchell's World Championship twice in Australia, and then also being part of or co-skippering Master Lock Comanche. So fantastic year for that team, with Matt Allen also being crowned the president, getting the President's Award at the recent Australian Sailing Awards. So great teamwork and commitment from those two to continue to have Master Lock Comanche out here each race.
And there's Mistral, the two-hander, who's just out to watch proceedings this afternoon, single-handed by the look of it, Peter.
Yeah, he's going for a practice sail. Rupert Henry, there he is. Won the last 3 double-handed Rolex Sydney Hobart divisions. Dedicated to his cause, that's for sure. He's going to spend the next few hours at sea, tuning his little boat before his crew arrives from Spain for the big event on Boxing Day. So as we pan back, there's a fleet arriving towards us, that's for sure. 70-odd boats with Master Lock Comanche complete control at the moment. As she approaching down towards South Reef.
Master Lock Comanche kept the Sound Pigs to port, whereas Scallywag looks as though they're going to stay on the other side, on that western side.
Yeah, she's a long way back, Gordon, that's for sure.
They did have to do that double tack,
Yeah.
which, you know, is costly on a 100-foot Super Maxi. You slow down quite a lot when your top speeds are quite high. So they'll be looking to, as soon as they can clear South Head, they'll be looking to crack their sheets and go fast mode, try and make up some of this distance over the Cabbage Tree Island Race.
URM Group continues to make up ground as well after being over the line early.
So SHK Scallywag won't need to do any more tacks before they leave the harbour. And Master Lock Comanche will just have one to do. Now, they're going to continue sailing all the way to SHK Scallywag's line, which is what they've just done, and protecting, I think, one thing I've always been taught is you stay between your competitor and the top mark, or the competitor and the wind. So that's exactly what they've done a very tight cover on SHK Scallywag to lead the Cabbage Tree Island Race out of the heads.
And it's about a 300-metre margin in favour of Master Lock Comanche over SHK Scallywag, with Willow, or Celestial V70, in 3rd place.
With the breeze in the left as it is, these boats will be cracked sheets through the heads to lay through North Head. They're above the ley line at the moment. You can see Master Lock Comanche in the distance, well above North Head. So both these boats a little bit overcooked on the ley line, but that's okay. They can put the bow down and really accelerate out to sea. There's Celestial V70, solid 3rd at the moment.
They've definitely played the shifts as they came out here. They were able to sound the lifted tack for as long as possible and stay in touch with the Super Maxis. They do have a few more tacks to do up around Camp Cove, but they've got the Maxis line to look at and will probably under-tack them and follow them out of the heads, but in a consolidated 3rd place. as they tack, probably for the second last time before they have to head out to sea.
Conditions quite lumpy between the heads, lots of white caps, very fresh sea breeze, and SHK Scallywag, David Wynn, in second place at the moment, trailing by 350 metres to our race leader, Masterlock Comanche.
You can see that Masterlock Comanche has just cracked their jib a little bit and twisted off their main so that they can try and get as much power and just get as maximum speed out of their heads here. You can see a couple of bumps happening as they continue to make their way out. I'm sure it's a little bit bumpier out there as we continue making their way out.
Well, she's regarded as the fastest maxi in the world. First came to Sydney in 2014 with Jim Clark. Took line honours in 2015, 17, 19 and 2022. And beaten in that gripping finish with Law Connect in 2023. 51 seconds the margin, second closest in the history of the race.
As we bid goodbye to Masterlock Comanche, leaders out of the heads. A few waves from the team on board.
SHK Scallywag comfortably in second place with Willow in third. And we'll be interested to see how much ground Law Connect has made up after ripping a head sail just after the start.
And we have to remember that SHK Scallywag had that jib issue, trying to bring that jib in as their first tack off Bradley's head. So there was a certain amount of distance that they lost from that. And then obviously having to do another 2 tacks compared to Comanche, the distance can be accounted to a bit of that. And tactics going as they get out further, Peter, what do you think is going to be playing in their minds?
I think they'll be protecting the left, I think. I think they'll probably go to sea a little and then just protect the left, maybe stay a bit closer to the shore. With maybe an anticipated change tonight to the breeze to go a little bit more into the north and perhaps even west of north. But probably north, getting north is probably the key, I think, at this stage. And planning your arrival at Port Stephens Light and Cabbage Tree. But I think they'll stand out to sea a little bit here before they flop over onto starboard.
The owner, Seng Huang Lee, will be going down to Hobart, already having done 4 Rolex Sydney Hobarts, but not on board for the Cabbage Tree. Winner of the Middle Sea Race in 2024, beating arch rival Blackjack, who came through under her new owners to take the Middle Sea Race in 2025.
Well, as we expected, the breeze is really spiky here between the heads. Gusts are coming over the top of North Head. We've got 20 plus knots, and you can see these big fellas, they've cracked sheets and they're really wound up, 20 plus knots. That's the Masterlock Comanche and Scallywag. Celestial V70 also well, you see the sheets well eased here. They're all laying through easily to North Head. Then it'll be sheets on and then out to sea on a fairly long port tack before they contemplate flopping over to starboard. But here's Celestial V70, third on the water at the moment.
Law Connect, Peter, is back in about 7th spot at the moment after having to change that headsail.
Yeah, he'd be chewing through the smaller boats, but he's given them a huge start. These other 2 maxis, it's a lot to make up now.
As Olivia pointed out, No Limit had a terrific start. David Goetz from the CYC, the Reichel Pew 63. They look as though they're back in about 5th spot at the moment. And URM, after being over the line, has also made up for that early mishap.
So I think that's No Limit on the left-hand side of our screen, with Law Connect making their way in the middle there. So No Limit being a Reichel Pew 63, but Law Connect having to go back at the start with their jib issue as well, after that breakage immediately after the start. No Limit looks like they're cruising through these waters and very balanced.
Masterlock Comanche, SHK Scullywag, then Willow, Celestial V70, and we think that it's neck and neck there, but maybe No Limit in 4th place at the moment. And URM Group vying with No Limit. That's URM on the left.
It is. They've done a fantastic job to come back after the start, returning after the start for being over early, and have made their way through the entirety of the fleet except for the 100-footers.
And that's Law Connect coming up alongside. So Law Connect is pretty well moving into 4th place already.
Peter, can you see, is the jib on Law Connect a much smaller one than the one they had?
If I was guessing, they've probably gone from a J3 to a J4, but it's a little bit hard to see. They're head on to us. But there's a small jib. Might hurt them a little bit as the breeze gets lighter a bit tonight. But at the moment, they've made a reasonable recovery. And URM's the other boat that's done very well after being recalled, as you said. Marcus Ashley Jones at the helm for the Johnson brothers. Jason Waterhouse and Anthony Nossiter are on board, 2 Olympians. She was launched in 2008 as Shockwave, so she's 17 years old, this boat. It proved a very successful boat. Second in the Hobart a couple of years ago. Second to Alive in 2023.
And having driven that boat recently in the 2 Audi Centre Sydney Blue Water Pointscore races, it does feel like an incredibly balanced boat. It feels like a skiff, even though it's a 72-foot version of it. It felt like we wanted to surf waves upwind. It felt like it was managing the power extremely well. The teamwork on board is becoming more cohesive. They've brought a lot of new team members on board for this year, in Sean Moran, and Josh McKnight makes a return as well. So this race really is an exciting one for the team. They're really looking to push limits and be ready for the Rolex Sydney Hobart in just a few weeks' time.
Well, they're about 1.5 miles now behind Masterlock Comanche, but clearly into 3rd place with SHK Scullywag in 2nd, and Willow, and then URM Group.
Yeah, the jib on Law Connect as we went past Olivia, it looked a J3 perhaps. It didn't look super small. So maybe they went from J2 to J3, but who knows. But we're on URM at the moment. Then following them, not far behind, is No Limit. So we're talking about her earlier. There's URM, and about 5 boat lengths astern is No Limit. Billy Merrington calling the shots for Dave Goetz. Steve Kemp, the navigator. 25 Hobarts this year for Steve from Adelaide. And then following up is Moneypenny. We'll see them in a moment. They've had a stellar start to the year. Moneypenny, formerly owned by Sean Langman, now owned by Rob Appleyard from Western Australia. She started the season in great form. She's won the Flinders, won the Tollgate race, won the Flinders, and 3rd in the Bird race, the Bird Island race.
And the competition between these 3 boats, Moneypenny, No Limit and URM, for those overall wins in those races has been extremely tight. just seconds towards a win. So the Moneypenny team, they took once they took the boat over around 18 months ago, just less than. This is the first Blue Water Pointscore series that they've been involved in the lead up to the first Rolex Sydney Hobart as a team from Western Australia.
So just recapping the order, it's Masterlock Comanche from SHK Scallywag, Willow, Law Connect, then URM Group, No Limit and Moneypenny.
And the next is Highly Sprung. On her now, Mark Spring from the CYC, a TP52 designed by the Far Office. Third in the Bird Island race, fifth at the Tollgate race. Very strong competitor. And enjoy another boat that'll enjoy going upwind. And then a nice skid home if the northerly stays in.
A number of, in the Highly Sprung program, a number of CYCA Youth Sailing Academy sailors on board as well after doing their first campaign with them last year, coming back for a second.
That boat is 20 years old now, having been launched in 2005.
And here comes a Fred, or the Smuggler. Very, very well performed last year, in excellent form this year. And then down to leeward of hers, Alithia, a Solaris 80, launched in 2000. Beautiful cruising, 80-footer. Be very comfortable on her tonight. Then we're coming back through, there she is there. Lovely racer cruiser in the PHS division.
Jost Stolman, the German skipper,
and a reef in the
Johann
mainsail.
Sorquist.
Yep.
So on your screen you can see V5, owned by Brian Peterson from the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. They've spent the entire, since Hamilton Island over here, doing all the offshore series, including the Audi Centre Sydney Blue Water Pointscore, TP 50, or Andrews 52, and it's been a while since we've seen so many New Zealand entered boats on Sydney Harbour, and it's great to have them out in the fleet. They got line honours in the 2025 Grouper Mile race around New Caledonia as well.
MV or AUS1 there. That is our friend Sean Langman on Back to Black. The Rykel Pew 42 that Sean raced at the Admiral's Cup, and to leeward of her, MRV. The Freya 61 built for Stan Edwards in 1996, but there's Sean Langman, a really good competitor. This boat did very well at the Admiral's Cup, very fast downwind. GP 42, very strong crew for Sean, a really tough competitor.
He sailed in Kismet last year, the 30-footer, Peter, in the Rolex Sydney Hobart.
A little bit different this time. The boat, they say, is drier on deck than it is below deck. It's got holes everywhere, but he's trying to plug them up.
We've got Koa on screen, owned by both Peter Wrigley and Andy Kernan. Avid CYCA offshore sailors in their TP52 that was launched in 2004. So their last Sydney Hobart appearance was in 2022, having to retire from rudder damage previously. So placed 10th in the Noak Sydney Gold Coast race this year, and has been one of the 6 yachts to finish inside the old race record of the Flinders Islet race in September.
Also took line honours overall in the Pittwater Coffs Harbour race, purchased by Peter and Andy back in 2015. Now 21 years old, that boat, Koa.
There's Koa. She won this race 2 years ago. Coming into the picture there is Sticky. Richard Harris, Cookson 50, 6th in the Bird Island race, another Far design.
From the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club, Peter. Formerly raced as Living Doll, Terra Firma, Shogun, out of Melbourne. 8th overall in the Gold Coast race this year.
And F1701 is our friends in Ambition. Now, this is an interesting boat. Chris Dare and Lockie Dare, his son. Bowden Carkeek, another GP42, similar in size to Sean Langman's Back to Black. She began life as Enterprise New Generation. And
One of the beauties of the fleet, Oriton Drumfire, built in 2007 at 24 metres long. Will Vickers' boat has really experienced teammates on crew on board, especially for the Rolex Sydney Hobart in Lockie Paramore, Brandon Byink, Will Vickers himself, and James Whelan have a numerous amount of Sydney Hobarts under their belt. So again, they're in that new race cruiser division created this year for the Rolex Sydney Hobart, and this is their hit out.
There's a comfortable way to go to Cabbage Tree on Maritimo 100. A bit more comfortable than Maritimo Cat Wincher, that is for sure. Bill Barry Cotter's boat. An Oyster 100 designed by the Dubois office out of England, the last Oyster 100 ever built. Beautiful boat. And just ahead of her is Minerva, but just looking overhead shot there of the... yeah, we can smell roast dinners, we think, on the camera cat.
Yeah, Minerva, 4th in Division 1 in the Noakes Gold Coast race this year. Edward Cox, the skipper. He'll be going down on his 6th Rolex Sydney Hobart.
The Ocean Crusaders Jaybird has done 5 Hobarts themselves. The boat has done 5 Rolex Sydney Hobarts, but has a number of crew on board that have been doing a range of races previously with them.
3 female sailors on board. Amberley Middleton.
Laura Thompson, who I've sailed against in the 49er FX previously.
And Jackie O'Connell.
And on the left there, Happy Wanderer. Formerly Vamp, or renamed for this race. She was Vamps at Corby 49. Members of the ADF Veterans, supporting the Wandering Warriors Foundation. And look at that shot overhead of the fleet coming out. Some of the smaller boats now starting to come out on the second start line, but in a really beautiful afternoon on the harbour. I can't stress it enough. It's a glorious day. There's not much swell. It's just a wind waves out here between the heads. There might be a metre swell at all, if anything. The breeze in the left, probably north-northeast. Most boats standing out on a port tack, out to sea, very high on port, as we're looking here at Richards Hudson's Pretty Woman, a really good competitor out of the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club. A FAR 45, a lot of junior scholars out of a development team out of the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club.
And 3 women on board that boat, and they were devastated last year when in a winning position to take the Corinthian division, but they were forced to retire. A lot of youth development from the Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club on board.
She was 4th in the Cabbage Tree last year, so she's a top performer. And then there's a fair gap, so that might be towards the end of the first starting line. But there's a huge group of yachts now rounding South Reef and putting their noses out towards North Head. It's a real cavalry of smaller yachts.
They are coming at us, aren't they, Peter?
Plenty of them. Relying on our skipper, Jimmy Bury, to thread the needle here for us. First boat we're seeing has got a reef in by the... who have we got here?
Just while you're working out, Peter,
No,
just repeating, this is the second last race in the Audi Centre Blue Water Pointscore series before the Sydney Hobart.
Wine Dark Sea with the reef in the main making their way out. Peter Lowndes and Courtney Murphy, Royal Sydney Yacht Squadron based. And Vixen Racing. We spoke earlier about Sharon Ferris-Choate's team.
Yep, reef in there, mainsail also. It's quite fresh here.
Sharon Ferris-Choate, as mentioned, sailed the R1, the Open 60 last year in the Rolex Sydney Hobart. But great to see the international yachts we have from New Zealand, Vixen Racing, and also V5. We have Alethea from Germany, Bacchanal USA, Scallywag from Hong Kong.
And there's Minnie. Michael Bell, two-hander. He was on the first line. Smallest boat on the first line, Zappa Bell. To leeward of them, 5588.
KD1.
KD1, yeah, she performed well in the Tollgate race. 4th overall for Joe de Kock. Modified Far 40, launched way back in 1999. And there's more to come. There's more to come,
Racing
folks.
from the Newcastle Cruising Yacht Club up north.
Yeah, Joe de Kock owns the Mid-Coast Boatyard and Marine.
And this breeze has got fresher as we've got out here now. We've got good 22, 23, perhaps 25 in the puffs, making things a little bit awkward. A lot of return in some of the mainsails. Some have got reefs in.
We've got just to the left of our screen, just near us, we've got the Mudgee Concrete team from Cronulla Sailing Club. A great team of mix of skiff sailors, yacht sailors, and everyone brought together from that club. So it's formally called Infinity 4.
And he has 3 father-son combinations are going to Hobart on Mudgee Concrete. Skipper Michael Stewart owns Macquart Marine.
Well, I don't think it's built of concrete, but there was a famous boat built of concrete that won the line honours in the 1973 Hobart race, and that was Helsel. But,
The floating footpath.
That's right.
Just to the leeward of them is our all-female team of First Light. As Ocean Racing, Elizabeth Tucker is the skipper, has brought together incredible women to be racing in an all-female team for the Rolex Sydney Hobart. You know, it's an incredible story. Elizabeth, just a few years ago, she learnt to sail and found her love of ocean racing and has been able to put her corporate experience into practice, trying to raise money for her campaign and women in sailing.
She wants to get some water ballast in there. They've got a plenty of lean on.
They do, don't they, even with that reef? So obviously been watching that story very closely and really excited for them to be participating in this series, as well as the Rolex Sydney Hobart.
They finished 18th in the Noakes Gold Coast race and 2nd in division. And
I can see Bacchanal, USA 1180. So they were the only ones over the start line in the second start. So they've done well to claw their way back through what is a really dense fleet exiting Sydney Harbour.
yeah, they were 2nd overall in the Noakes Gold Coast race and 3rd in the Tollgate to win Division 2. And named after the Roman god Bacchus, the god of wine, hedonism and joy.
Steering Bacchanal is Sean Guanario. He skippered Zen in the Admiral's Cup very successfully. They were 2nd top scoring big yacht. And he's just going through the motions there on Bacchanal. And there's Cinquant, Kim Jagger's boat. Kim's not on board. Mike Benzink's skippering her in this race. Kim is going to Hobart. And down to leeward, what do we got down there? 5556, was it?
5344 being Sumatra.
Sumatra, the Swan
Yep.
48. Shane Diethelm. 6837 here as she's the culprit.
3rd in Division 1 of the Noakes Gold Coast. Glenn Takbulma and Glenn Cyril Picasso are the owners.
There are a number of Glens on board. She's the culprit. I was speaking with Tara Blank-Ramos, the sailing manager at the CYC, and she just said there's a number of Glens and they're all just part of an enormous syndicate together.
Lake Macquarie Yacht Club and the Newcastle Cruising Yacht Club. What's next? Charles Cupid from the Cruising Yacht Club, the Sydney 47. Purchased in 2016 from Graham Wood.
I can also see Philosopher on its way out as well, full main up.
And Clockwork is very close to us here too, from South Australia.
Trouble and Strife just to leeward of them.
Mary Ann Harvey, the co-owner of Clockwork.
Got a number of boats coming out all at once here. It's fantastic to see.
Latira Flan, sail number 85. Christopher Taylor from the CYC, the Pogo 40, Peter. Interesting boat.
Yeah, she needs to get the water ballast in.
And a boat you know very well, Peter. Love and War.
Yep, just ahead of us there. Just Min River to leeward of her. Jun Lin, yachtsman of the female yachtsman of the year for the CYC. Love and War should be enjoying these conditions in this freshening breeze.
And the young lady just in those bright red pants on the port side towards the rear of the boat is one Grace Shipway.
Yep, first ocean race. Nice way to start, a nice boat to start on. You can just see that breeze spiking around North Head. Still a lot of boats still to come out. And we're just here alongside, we'll get a shot of them at the moment, the Making Waves Foundation, skippered by Johnny Whitfield. There they are. Making Waves Kale, or MWF Kale, the patron of that organisation.
So focused on giving disabled and disadvantaged people opportunities to get out on the water. I know a number of people that have gone through that foundation and loved being out there and sailing. So an incredible job just continuing the foundation and being able to give more and more people opportunity to be involved in our sport.
Well, their campaign was launched yesterday, and the patrons, I was saying, Her Excellency the Governor-General Sam Mostyn invited all the crew to Admiralty House, and they had a afternoon tea or morning tea, and they do a fantastic job, and he's a terrific fellow, Johnny Whitfield. He owns Solvig, the 1954 Hobart winner. He and Annie Lawrence, and they're really giving an opportunity to some disabled and disadvantaged people.
B40 Blink just to leeward of the Making Waves Foundation Kale. Cruising Yacht Club of Australia representative. The boat's done 5 Rolex Sydney Hobarts, full main up.
Skippered by Mark Gorbatov, the Sydney ophthalmologist.
I think, Olivia, what happens here, the breeze is so spiky through the heads that once they get around North Head, the breeze has settled down and doesn't look anywhere near as fresh once they can depart North Head. But they've just got to get through this little spiky bit, and it's nice sailing. Most boats, I haven't seen anyone tack yet, so they're all making long port tacks out to sea.
And Toucan just on screen, one of our double-handed entrants from Royal Prince Alfred Yacht Club and Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, the Jeanneau Sunfast 3300.
Yeah, very good performer. They won the double-handed in the Gold Coast race. Eddie Curry High and Lincoln Dews, good sailors. They'll be pushing hard in this double-handed division, both here and in the Rolex Sydney Hobart race.
Wayuna 3600, the former Kraken. Previous owner, Hilary Arthur. This boat has travelled over 17,000 miles around the world cruising. Royal Perth Yacht Club.
And still more to come.
Unicorn.
Oh, Unicorn. Now, there's a story and a half. She is the former Assassin that won the 1992 Hobart race, now owned by Pete Bremner. And Pete was aboard Assassin when they won, and also Andrew Buckland was aboard, and Andrew's put this whole program together on the Unicorn. And to windward of them, MYC 99
is Gizmo.
Gizmo. Yeah, Mark Michelle steering that. Well-known Australian, now living in New Zealand. Double-handed competitor, but Gizmo a racing crude at the moment. And then, yeah, Unicorn's got a bit on there, full main. Bucko's tried to reinvent the wheel a couple of times with that boat, but anyway, good luck to him.
And just near them is Blue Planet,
Yep.
another double-handed entrant from the CYCA, J99, launched in 2022.
representing the Greenwich Flying Squadron and the Cruising Yacht Club. Third double-handed in the Flinders Island Race.
That's Packman, Peter Elkington and Scott Kavanagh. They are good performers also in the double-handed division, especially Sean Kavanagh. He's Scott Kavanagh, I'm sorry. He won the 2014 Global Around the World race. This is a young 11, built in 1998. Down to leeward, there's a boat having a bit of a flap around. Don't know who that is, but we'll come back. There's our friend in the Navy. You're in the Navy? Navy one. Interesting that the Army have got an exact sistership for this year's race and also for the Rolex Sydney Hobart race. So a good battle amongst the armed forces.
Your Navy one, Peter, did exceptionally well last year in the Rolex Sydney Hobart, 29th overall and won PHS Corinthian Division.
Yeah, the Navy, they've got to pull the main sheet on a bit. I think they'll be do a little bit better.
And leading that next pack is Bo Tomps, Rod Smallman and Alex Toomey. Sunfast 3600.
And then the boat putting the reef in is Wild Oats. Now, a famous name, built for Bob Oatley, a FAR 43 built for Bob in 1985. She's won 2 Hobart races. Now skippered by Gordon Smith. She won Hobart in 93 and 2014 with the late, great Roger Hickman. 45th in last year's Cabbage Tree Island Race.
And 4411 is Verite, another double-handed entrant. Heading out.
Yes, skippered by co-skippered Paul Beath and Tony Craner. Paul is a retired dentist from the Central Coast of New South Wales. Newcastle Cruising Yacht Club. Same design as Disco Trooper Contender Sailcloth, which won the double-handed, the first one in 2021. Chancellor is sail number 6834, Edward Tour, and he'll be going down to Hobart for the 17th time in 2025. Beneteau first 40 from the CYCA.
And this one is the Gaffer, another double-handed entrant, J99. Reef already in place.
There's 4, I think, J99s in the fleet. They are the smallest boats in this race, 9.9 metres, hence the name. J99, J-class, very famous class. And over there, I think it's Cyan Moon. I think that's Cyan Moon.
It is, yeah.
It is Cyan Moon. She has retired out of the last 2 Hobart races, unfortunately, having won the PHS division in the 2022 Rolex Sydney Hobart race. Very comfortable Beneteau Oceanus 473. So they might be putting a roast dinner on tonight as well. Just see the spiky bits of wind coming round North Head. They went pretty high up into the left. And there's the scene looking from the top of North Head. All the fleet on port tack.
So you're watching the action in the Cabbage Tree Island Race for 2025, 172 miles. They'll beat north to Cabbage Tree Island off Port Stephens before returning to the finish in Sydney Harbour.
Okay, well, there's Crux, another double-hander. Carlos Ados and Peter Grayson from the Middle Harbour Yacht Club. Sister ship to the 69 Hobart winner, Morning Cloud. One of the Sparkman and Stevens great designs. The S&S 34. And then following her...
Last S&S 34 ever built too, Peter.
Bumpity bump, here we go. Maritimo, Cat Wincher, Speezy. He's got a couple of boats behind him. Anyway, looks a little tiny jib on, probably a J3 perhaps. Full main, J4 maybe even. Well, it's going to be a long time to Cabbage Tree for Speezy, but if anyone can do it in that little boat, he can. 10 metres in length, Olivia said earlier, built in 1904. Sailed all the way out to Sydney. Oh, Millennium Falcon next. Old Sparkman and Stevens design, built in 1996. Yeah, might have... I need some cleaners down the side of the boat, but anyway, bit of a flap in the Genoa. Comfortable boat. And we're coming back. We've only got a few left.
298 being Western Morning, Mark Ato.
Yep. That's another S&S 34. Same as Crux. And there's a boat up here. Is he a race boat off camera?
2400.
It's not a race boat. It's Avalanche that raced last year, but we thought he might have retired. And I think there's one last boat. That's a far 11.6. Tataki. She's got a bit on. Well, we'll see her in a moment. She's two-hander. Same boat there she is. I don't know what he's got that sail on the bow for, but he won't be using that for a while. It's all filled up. He's got a lot of return in the mainsail. It's a two-hander. I think they were... I think they're representing... RANSA, Royal Australian Naval Sailing Association. Tim Binns and Francis Beaumont. Launched in 1981, and sister ship Piccolo won the 76 Hobart race. So there you go, a bit of trivia.
Peter, it's named after the native flowering tree from New Zealand.
I knew that, Gordon.
Yeah, from the Mangakahaia Valley in the North Island.
He's got to do something with that mainsail. He's never going to get to Cabbage Tree.
So it's part of the an ongoing program for double-handed offshore racing that here the co-skippers and partners in life are together on board with Francis Beaumont skippering to Toki in a lot of she sails events around New South Wales. So avid supporter of women in sailing.
I think she is the tail end Charlie, Gordon. I don't think there's any more. Remembering that Wild Thing did not start. So we've seen the majority of the fleet go through, I think, and when we left them, Master Lock Comanche firmly in control.
Yes, 71 starters. Wild Thing 100, as you mentioned, Peter, a late withdrawal. But Master Lock Comanche from SHK Scallywag. And then Celestial V70. Law Connect after ripping a headsail just after the start. Then URM Group had to restart as well, but made up ground quickly. Another good start from No Limit as well.
So they've made good time. It's 52 minutes after the first start and consequently 47 minutes after the second start. So most of the boats are through the heads and on their way north.
Can see, Peter, as you said, you know, some of the boats will be looking to tack back into the shore quite quickly and gain some of that left shift. We're already seeing some of that happen in the battles, within the battles for the race.
As we look out to sea, you can see a few boats now flopped onto starboard, maybe either to clear their air or to try and get a bit of northy in their course. That's thinking the models have them going out to sea a little bit before they put a tack in, and just the forecast that we got earlier today, the forecast was that the maxis, the weather routing said that the maxis would take about 15 hours for this race.
And Olivia, just take us through the Australian Maxi Championship. This is the first race, the Cabbage Tree Island Race, but then starting on Sunday and Monday and then finishing with the Solus Big Boat Challenge. Take us through that procedure.
It's a really exciting addition to the racing calendar in December. Obviously, when all the Super Maxis are here, we've got the Mini Maxi division up to between 60 and 80 feet, and then we've got the Super Maxi division 80 to 100 feet. So they'll have a day off tomorrow, depending on what time they all get in from the Cabbage Tree Island Race, and then they'll have some passage racing, 1 or 2 races depending on conditions on Sunday as well as Monday, and then it all culminates for the biggest boats in the fleet in the Solus Big Boat Challenge on Tuesday. And
we'll be covering that live in commentary, streaming on CYCA TV, and you can follow it on the tracker as well.
this race was also part of the Southern Cross Series, Gordon. And we can now follow the race as they all head offshore. The tracker is live and active.
bwps.cycaracing.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. And repeating that Ian Thorpe, Australia's greatest ever male swimmer, is on board Law Connect. So that would have been exciting, Peter, with that early disaster at the start with the headsail. Welcome to ocean racing,
yeah,
Thorpe.
Does this always happen? He probably said. I don't know about that. But we're in the Camera Cat just outside North Head now, and a little bit lumpy with the waves, but nothing extreme. But the breeze is definitely softer out here. In the left, it's probably down at about 12, 15 knots perhaps. So boats will be doing some jib changes. Not too far off, I wouldn't think. This breeze seems to be really quitting. But majority of the fleet still on long port tacks.
We could see just up ahead before our 3 racing Supermaxis could be in a bit of attacking duel as we head further up the coast. I think Masterlock Comanche is the furthest out to sea, SHK Scallywag in the middle, and potentially Law Connect on the left on port after taking a dig back into the shoreline.
So that pretty well brings us towards the finish of this Cabbage Tree Island Yacht Race for 2025. So many races within the races. It's the final showdown, of course, before the Rolex Sydney Hobart. Second last race in the Sydney Blue Water Pointscore. Opening race for the Australian Maxi Championship. And we've also touched on the fact that it's the opening race too, Olivia, of the Southern Cross Series. You might just run over that again for us as well.
Exactly. It's a great new initiative for ambitious ocean races. The Southern Cross Series is the Cabbage Tree Island Race is the opener. The Rolex Sydney Hobart is the middle race, and then the inaugural Trans-Tasman Series finishes with the with that race across to New Zealand to the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron.
So let's just say a big thank you to our skipper, James Bury, the owner of Sail Media, on the Sail Media Camera Cat here today, our director, Michael Chittenden, our drone pilot, Piers Hasgard, and our main camera, Jono Whitty, whose sister, Lucinda, was in the silver medal winning match racing crew in London in 2012.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I've said congratulations many times, but what a great performance that was. So close.
Yeah, thanks, Gordon.
And well done, Jono. Camera assistant, of course, not to be missed, Sammy Brasher. So that's the crew on board. So on behalf of Olivia and also Peter Shipway, this is Gordon Bray signing off from the Heads at beautiful Sydney Harbour.